just had a lengthy and detailed discussion with the Secretary General. I said that the ceasefire must include not merely a cessation of rocketing, complete cessation of rocketing in Israeli cities, but it must also have an effective barrier for the rearmament, the future rearmament of Hamas. Otherwise, we could make a repeat of the mistake of having a false ceasefire, the kind that Hamas used in the previous year to arm itself with rockets that reached deeper into Israel and put 1 million Israelis under rocket fire. In short, what we need is the absolute cessation of rocketing in our cities and the effective sealing of Gaza from future rearmament against our cities as well.
Mr. Netanyahu, there's growing international pressure for Israel to call a ceasefire. If you were Prime Minister, would you call one now?
I would have a ceasefire when it's effective. That means it has to stop the rocketing, but also stop the rearmament routes. Right now, Hamas could resupply itself with Iranian rockets to further fire in our cities, and therefore a ceasefire must include at a minimum the sealing of Gaza on the Egyptian Sinai seam line, so that this inflow of hundreds and hundreds of rockets, indeed thousands of rockets, from Iran into this Hamas terrorist base, that this stop. This must be part of the ceasefire. Otherwise, we're only deluding ourselves and repeating the mistakes of the past.
Would you trust the Egyptians to put in place some step-up measure with the help of the Americans to achieve that?
I don't want to get into the details of how it's done, but it has to finally come out as a physical barrier that prevents the inflow of weapons. I don't think we care one way what Hamas will say, what Hamas will promise. Hamas is committed to Israel's destruction. It's being supported and supplied by a regime, Iran, that is committed to Israel's destruction. It's a terrorist organization, and you cannot rely on a word that it says. What we need is an effective barrier between the Sinai and Gaza. And this must be part of the ceasefire. If not, then we'll have only a temporary hiatus, and the rocketing, the criminal rocketing by Hamas on Israel's cities will resume with greater force, greater lethality, and greater tragedy for human life and for the prospects of peace.
Mr. Netanyahu, Foreign Minister Sibling is heading to the United States, hopefully to reach an understanding with the administration and sign maybe a memorandum of understanding. I'm sure you're aware of the details or you're told the details of this. Do you think it's enough to assure the government and the opposition that this will put an end to the smuggling, the assurances by the United States and NATO possibly? Would that satisfy you as a opposition leader that it will stop the armed?
Well, we had a resolution in Lebanon at the end of the Second Lebanon War, backed by a Security Council resolution, 1701, and it was promised that this would stop the rearmament of the Hezbollah. In fact, the Hezbollah has now resupplied more than triple its pre-war armament. It has 50,000 rockets, more than some middle-sized and even large powers in the world. And we cannot afford that being repeated in Lebanon. So we do not, in Gaza, we do not need words, we need deeds. Words have failed in Lebanon in the 1701 resolution, and words will not suffice here. We need actual deeds and an actual preventive arrangement on the ground to prevent the resupply lines of Hezbollah with Iranian rockets.
So no confidence in the American,
Hamas.
No confidence in the American efforts then?
We'll wait and see.
Can the UN Secretary General do anything? You talked about not needing words but deeds. Do you see him as being effective in helping to bring around a ceasefire?
I think the UN can be a great force for moral clarity if it chooses to. And I think UN resolutions have to be clearly directed against the war crimes, the double war crimes of Hamas, firing on civilians and using civilians as a human shield. And equally, and we discussed this in the meeting, the UN should be forthright against the mother country, Iran, which supports Hamas, which calls for Israel's destruction against the UN Charter and is uncontested in the UN. So I think the UN should take a very forceful line against the Iranian criminal attempt to annihilate Israel, to commit genocide, and against their proxies, which violate all the Geneva Convention rules.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.